Hey everybody, welcome to a new episode of Ignorant Bliss. This is your host and creator, Julian Lytle. On this episode, I am with my old friend from college and just life, Micah Blacklight. He is starting a Kickstarter. He has been running a Kickstarter, to be quite honest, for his new graphic novel, LER Volume 1, Technology, Myth, Fantasy, and Urban Divinity. LER stands for Erotique Randomme. It's a new graphic novel. I wanted to have him on. We wanted to have him on for a while. We talked about it. We was able to get this cracking. And we talk about art, making this book, what inspired making this book, and a bunch of other topics. So I hope you enjoy it. If you look into the show notes and listen to the episode, you'll find out where to follow him. Also a link to the Kickstarter as well. Also in the blog post or anything else. If you want to get at the show, ignorantblisspodcast@gmail.com, IGBL podcast on Twitter, at Julian Lytle for me directly, and on all social media. If you listen to this, you might know how to get it. If not, if you come across this randomly, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, or is it called Google Podcasts now? Who knows? And plenty of other ways that you can hear podcasts. And I hope you enjoy it. Hope you can like, share, subscribe, all that type of stuff, and leave good reviews on Apple Podcasts and where else you can, if they add that to anything else. And enjoy the episode, and I hope you come back. As a note, I have a Patreon, patreon.com/Julian Lytle, if you will help support the process of making this show and keeping it up. Thank you. Peace and enjoy. Hey, what's going on, man? How are you doing?
I am doing quite fine, my brother, my sir, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing, I'm doing Julian style of
Yes. Then there you go. So, is this a non-visual call?
I usually don't do video because I don't like being on cameras. But
I forgot. Okay, cool. So I can just do that, and then I can just be working.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm an audio guy.
Shit, man.
I'm an audio guy.
So am I coming through clear?
Yeah, you come through great. How do I sound on your end? So you don't.
You sound awesome. You sound fine.
All right. So how you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm so good.
You're the most positive person. You're one of the most positive people I know now.
Oh, whereas
back in the day, you were like the most positive person. But now I'm older, so I've met more people, and there's other people who share your level of positivity.
Oh, that's nice. I don't know a whole lot of them, but I've met a few. I met a handful. You know what I'm saying? We out here. I'm super excited, right? Because it's not like my life ain't without shit stuff. Wait, am I allowed to curse on this podcast?
Yeah, man, you listened to him before. You heard.
I have. I'm just saying,
I use the N-word that you don't like quite frequently.
yeah, I've heard. But here's the thing, though. I've since slightly come around slightly. It's not gonna come out of my mouth.
Yeah.
But I am in a different place in relationship to it, based upon the changing organic nature of language and what it does and how it does it, and my recognition of such. I'm still not, all in, obviously, because like I said, it ain't coming out my mouth very frequently, if ever. But I can definitely, I'm not as staunchly opposed to it as I used to be. I mean, obviously, I still got beef, But but it's no longer like oh god, you hurt me. You know what I mean, it just depends on the folk who's using it and how. You know what I mean, like I still trip out on the Quentin Tarantino use type style, but
I understand. I
but
understand.
you know, it is what it is. So anyways, I'm yeah, man, I'm this project that I'm going to be speaking about is like taking up a huge chunk of psychic real estate right now because it is the biggest I've ever attempted. It is the most exciting I've ever done, and it's going to be for a project that I'm ridiculously happy about. You know what I mean? So right now that's taking up a gigantic piece of real estate. My lady is holding space and supporting me in doing this, and when I, and my daughter's a beast anyway, but she's not going to be able to see any of her papa's work for like friggin' she's 6 right now to like a solid decade and change. You know what I'm saying? So, you mean I'd be like, yo, I'm working on this. She's like, can I see? I'm like, hell no, you can't. No.
Yo, hold up. Wow, she's 6.
Yeah, she's 6, yo.
That means that. All right, because that was like the last time we tabled together. It was like when she was about to be like, she was coming.
Yes, when she was coming. Word at the con. Oh, damn. That's crazy. Yes,
Oh,
and I ran out of there going, I'm about to have a baby.
You were like, yo, I'm about to leave early. You just let you know. I was like, oh okay.
Yeah, I got some real fucking dire business I gotta attend to right now. Oh shit, yeah, that's tight. That's tight. So she waited. She waited for me to get home before she fully went came into mom's labor. So me and her as a spirit, we had a deal. You know what I'm saying? And she kept her end of the bargain, and I got my ass home so I could keep my end, and that worked out. I caught some flack for that, you.
What, going out there?
Going to the con,
Really?
knowing that her due date, like, because due dates, I don't know if you know anything about
They're
due
like
dates and shit.
arranged, right? They're like,
Yeah, it's not like this is exactly when nowadays, because of the industry that pregnancy has in large part become, specifically in this country, nowadays you can actually do that. Due date is boom, because that's when the doctor is going to induce your labor, and then he's going to give you a C-section. Crazy, like I don't even whatever. But when you're not doing it that way, when you're like legitimately gonna wait for the child to do,
yeah.
it's arranged. So I caught flack from. I had to sit. This was a powerful moment, man. I had to sit in a room. We had 2 midwives. I had to sit in a room full of women. It was me, my lady, her mom, our her brother's wife who delivers kids all the time. Like that's what she does. That's what she does for a living. And both are midwives. We're all staring me down when I'm sitting there telling them I'm going to the Comic-Con. You know what I mean? They're like, her mom looked me in my face and was like, you are going to miss the best event of your life. And I looked her back in her face and was like, no, I'm not. Because she's not coming until, well, I didn't even know it was going to be she. Because it's not going to happen till I get back. You know what I mean? And it was super trippy. And the only reason I could do that was because the way I roll with spirit, I had asked my spirits, like, I'm not religious at all. And I consider myself spiritual to the extent that I just definitely believe is way more stuff than I understand. And, I feel like there's some energies rolling around, you know what I mean? And some of them are more powerful than others and blah, blah. So the way I do it, I pray to uni, what I call uni, which is short for the universe, which is spirits, forces, fates, entities, gods, goddesses, energies that are rolling, ancestors that are rolling with and for me. That's uni. You know what I mean? that's what I pray to. And it's just like I checked in with them, and I tried as best I could to check in with the spirit of the unborn child, because we didn't know what sex it was, because I didn't want to know. I purposely was like, for the first couple seconds of her birth, first minutes of the birth, I wanted to just be holding a child with no expectations on it. No, we got a boy, so it's a boy. We got a girl, so it's a girl. Like none of that. Just it's a child. It's a human. Let it be here for the first couple minutes of his life without any expectations other than we welcome you in here. You know what I mean? So we went out of our way to not know the sex. But I checked in with the spirit of the child as best I could, and I checked in with my lady. I was like, listen, if you are against this, I will not go. And she's like, she's been with me for years and years. I mean, and she's just like, I trust your knowing. If you tell me you know, like you good, you done spoke with your spirits and da-da-da, and the baby's not coming until you get back, I will trust it. If you don't know, I ain't trusting it. You know what I mean? It's that simple. So I was like, I'm good. We done had the conversation. I'm clear. As long as you're good, I'm good. She's like, all right, I trust you. Let's go. So then we sat in that room. I didn't feel like I was as alone as I kind of would have felt otherwise, because I had already had the conversation with my lady, right? So, you know, moms and all these people staring me down with the da-da-da-da, and you fine. I'm just like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. So when we got the scare, when we thought her water had broke, I was on my way to the con like the second, third day of the con. And I got the text in the morning.
I remember.
Right? And I was like, but the part you didn't see was on my way to the con. I looked up at the sky and was like, I thought we had a deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was talking to the spirit of the child. I was like,
I thought we was good.
Yo, what's happening, yo? I thought we had this worked out. And it turns out that we did. It turns out we did, because it turned out to be a scare. It wasn't, to this day, they don't know what broke. Like, it wasn't our water, but some crazy liquid came out, and they to this day, they don't know what the hell happened. But the baby waited. All the signs like kind of chilled out after that day, and then I got home, and the baby, she went into labor the next day. Next day. Like, here we go. Yeah, man. Yeah, so that's my world, that's my life, and that's how I roll with it. I'm just like, magic is real. I don't care what none of y'all say. I don't give a fuck about your science. I don't care about your physics. Like, you can't tell me. You can't. Sorry. You know what I mean? You can't. That's just how I live. That's how I live. So it was powerful.
So for the listeners, how does how you live and what you believe influence your work?
That's a damn good question. I don't know that it does. I mean, Okay, so that's a damn good question. I've never been asked that before. So, I feel that there are energies, sometimes forces, sometimes beings, spirit, whatever, but energies that want to be articulated on this plane. They ain't got mouthpieces. They don't have mouths, right? That's not what they're not corporeal. So they don't have bodies and shit to express themselves. That's where humans come in. That's what I feel. And so some people feel like they're possessed by art, taken over by art. They're just the vessel for it. I don't go that far. I take it like halfway there. Like, I do feel like I'm a channel for sure. But I feel like I'm a channel specifically chosen by energies who want my filter on their expression. They know I'm gonna filter them a certain way. They know when they come through me, they choose me as a mouthpiece. I have a specific way I roll, and a specific series of arts and mouthpieces that I can access. And they want the way I access it over, say, a different vessel. They're not just looking for any vessel. They're choosing specifically. So I guess in that sense, what I believe, which is that, influences my art in the sense that I do feel like I'm engaging in an exchange. There's some of it that's coming from me, and there's some of it that's coming through me, and we're kind of making a deal. We're kind of navigating as the art comes out of me. And that's aside from that, the other piece of belief that strongly influences everything I do is my choice to take on inspiration as my primary purpose in this life. Like, people ask, what's your purpose? And not everybody asks that. Not everybody's thinking about that. But for me, that's the primary purpose I've chosen in this life, outside of, living and freaking having a ball. And so, and encompassed by that, is inspiration. Like, my art, my speech, the way I carry myself is all geared towards the credo, the knowledge, operating under the assumption that we are always being observed, always. and not like on some conspiracy theory shit, although I do believe that too. But the point is, when we're walking in the street, when we're doing things, when we're saying things, every interaction that we have with another human being is being observed by somebody. And you may not know, you may have no idea the impact that you're having when somebody else observes you doing a thing, saying a thing, being a certain way. And but we're leaving ripples, like we're all boats and we're just leaving ripples in this water in our wake. And for me, it's like, what kind of wake do I want to leave? What kind of string of interactions do I want to leave? I want to leave some super empowering, hella inspirational, like what the fuck this? That's what I want to leave behind me, just strings of it, just yay, you know. So that belief also influences what I do and how I do it, and I feel like it permeates everything I do.
That's a good answer.
Yay!
That's interesting because I think about that too in terms of interactions. Sometimes I don't always feel the best about what I make, but I can look back sometimes to see that I've interacted with a lot of people. You know,
and positively interacted with a lot of people.
I would hope so. I try to make so. I don't hear about the negative interactions. Sometimes I wish I would and make things easier.
Right?
So I wouldn't
oh my
overthink
goodness.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, because then you don't have to be all up in your head. Just let me know, man. If it's if I fucked up or you feel like I fucked up, let me know, and then I can either correct or ignore you, depending on what what you think I done did to you.
So this isn't your first time being an author. Like a couple of years back, you wrote a book with illustrations. And how was that, and how did that go?
The saga. So, so the very first project, for those listeners who have no idea, I'm Micah Blacklight, by the way. For the listeners who have no idea about this project that I did the first time, it was called Cult of the Serpentari. It was a big old novel, actually, several 100,000 words, like 160 or 70,000 words on that. It had 43 illustrated plates. The way that it came about was very interesting because I there's a long story, but I'm gonna cut it real short. Basically, I had a short story, and I actually had an agent, and she pitched it without me knowing she was going to pitch it. And a company called Dolores Cave, a small online publishing company that had been in the romance and erotica genre of ebooks for a long time. They were a recognized name, a recognized brand. Some people loved them, some people hated them. They were run by crazy people. But either way, super cool, but crazy. I got the book deal, but I call it the book deal that never was, because when people think of book deals, they think of money, first of all, you know what I mean? And then resources like publicity agents and book signings and tours and all that stuff. I got none of that. What ended up happening was I wrote a short story. They said, "Can you turn this into a book?" I said, "Hell yeah." I had never written a novel in my life. I thought I could. I didn't know the first thing about it, but I made it up as I went along. To this day, I'm really happy with what I made, but I've since come to realize it's not a traditional novel in the sense that there's zero conflict, because I was like, nope, I don't want conflict. I just want fun. And so I stuck in so I stuck in a little bit of conflict, like this one piece that's just messed up because there's so not anymore in the book. So when you come upon it, it fucks you up. Like, you're just like, what the fuck? Because I can do some fucked up conflict. You know what I mean? Like, don't get it twisted. I just didn't want to. But I didn't realize the power of conflict and how it drives story, and how you basically can't have a good, or according to all the novel people, you can't really have a good story without some kind of conflict, even if it's minor. So the point is, I didn't know any of that, but I wrote it anyway. I did the damn thing. But it took me 2 years. Because they weren't giving me money, right? So I still had to work, for bills and pay all that stuff. So I was pushing my brains off. But it was just for this dream of funding once I had finished the book. Well, it took me 2 years. And in the meantime, they sued somebody. The company got into litigation with one of their ex-authors or some bull. Just a complete clusterfuck. Point is, by the end of it, when I went, "Yay, I'm ready," they were like, "Ooh, sorry, we ain't got no more resources." And I was like, "Excuse me?" They're like, "Yeah, we can give you a place on our website, and we might maybe be able to put you with a publicist for like 2 weeks. Maybe." That's a huge maybe. I was like, wow. Okay, so can I get the discount on buying the books? They were like, yes, we can do that. We can give you the books at cost. So that's what I got. I organized my own book signing. I organized every sale that I got was because of me. Yeah, I mean, there was no nothing. It was whatever. So, longer story shortened, they went out of business, and
Wow.
my they went under. They no longer exist, and my project reverted back. The rights reverted back to me. Thank the gods. They were very nice and kind on that scale. And so I published again, self-published, just to, because I had a small little core of followers. You know what I mean? A couple hundred people. It was great, but it was a drop in the bucket compared to what I was trying to do. I was trying to take over the industry. It was just all this stuff. Um, and long story shortened, when I realized they no longer could sell me the books at cost, all the illustrations were in color. But when I lost that, I couldn't sell it in color because I was like, oh, that was taking a chunk of the price right down. Like, that was, wow, okay. So the next edition of them were all in black and white, and then I only did that for a little while, and then eventually I stopped doing that because it was just like trickle, trickle, trickle. And then I stumbled on this author whose name is Joanna Penn. She's got a YouTube channel. She's really successful author. I think she's based in the UK. Shout out to her. She has no idea who I am. That's okay. The point is, she had this guy named Stevenson. What was his first name? Who cares? I'll figure out his name at some point. And he had this course. He still teaches the course, on how to drive ebook sales and all these other things. And part of what he said was, I ended up taking the course, and part of what he said was branding. Like, the very beginning is your title. Like, do people know what they're getting with your book? And for me, I purposely kept the book loose. Like, I didn't necessarily want people to know what they were getting. I just wanted them to be interested and curious. And so I rebranded it. I chopped the initial book up into 3. So it's now a trilogy. It's fully rebranded. It's got brand new title. It's still Cult of the Serpentari, but then there's a subtitle. It's like this super long thing that I don't even remember. But you are absolutely clear what kind of book you're getting now. So the longest part of that is that the book still exists. It's now a trilogy, and you can get it as a perk on this current Kickstarter. Dun 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 ding, boom.
So, is there any, I guess, continuity or thematic continuity between your book and LER, which is the graphic novel you're kickstarting?
No, because there happens. So I have what amounts to 4 different worlds, and the world that the book took place in is not represented in any of the 4 stories that is the LER. The reason I'm offering it as a perk is just because a whole bunch of people, when I was letting them know I was going to do this next project, they've asked about the Cult of Serpentari and like, is it still for sale and can we find it? And I was like, actually, yeah, I'm gonna make it available after this Kickstarter. So there you go.
So now that we brought it up, what is LER Volume 1? What is this about?
LER stands for Erotique Randomme. It's not French, but I like the way it sounds. I made it up, so that's what it stands for. Okay, so the LER Volume 1 is a series. It's a graphic novel, an extremely adult, illustrated, obviously, graphic novel. It consists of 4 different stories told in 4 storytelling styles. The first one is prose with a few illustrated plates, kind of like Cult of Serpentari. The next story in the book is sequential art, full-on comic book art, word bubbles, everything. The third story takes that a step further and gives you pure visuals. So I just take out all the verbals and you're just reading visuals all the way across. And then the last story, the 4th and final story, is a combination of all 3 styles. So you're going to go from from prose into sequential, down into pure visual, and back up into prose again. So I'm just giving the reader a chance to interact with the media in ways they never have before. And it's because it's 4 stories. All the 4 stories are linked. They all happen in the same city, but they're from different characters, different, sort of walks of life, points of view. And it's super, super exciting for me because I get to experiment with these styles. Specifically the 4th one, where I can go in and out from prose and then, you know, back in and the sequential and then back out. And like, it's to emulate the experience I've had, loosely emulate the experience I've had reading a good book, right? Like when I first pick up a book, I'm reading a book. I have a book. I'm bringing a book. But at some point, especially if the story's good, I stop reading. After a minute, I start living it. You know what I mean? Like I'm in it. I start seeing stuff. And so I kind of wanted to loosely emulate that experience by making it so the beginning you're reading and then you start seeing it. Yeah. And then you go from a little bit more and a little bit more and then it's pure visuals and then you come back out and then you go back in. So that's the basis for the LER. And that's what we getting.
So being that you're trying to also replicate how you fall into stories, is that format also freeing for you to keep you interested in making the work, being able to play with all your different type of skill sets or way you want to tell stories, being able to jump in between the two? Saying that because sometimes when you're making long pieces of work, you can get to a point where you're like, why am I doing this? Like, I'm bored. Like, you get so far in, it's like, yo, I want to do something else now. I'm bored. Why did I do this?
Well, I'm super, super, super fortunate in that I tend to have more interest in my work than a lot of people. So it takes me a long time before I'm like, I'm bored. I'm fucking bored. I want to do this. So that's the first piece. But the second thing is, with these stories in particular, so I have, like I said, I got 4 worlds in my head. But what I mean by that is I got 4 worlds in my head. So it's I have histories, I got peoples, I have cultures, climates, creatures, flora, fauna, technology, the whole nine. Like I have worlds in my head. So I have been wanting to get stories from these worlds out of my head for years. Feel me? Like the LER as a concept has been brewing for years, and the stories within it, the concepts, years. So for me, this is like Christmas. If when this Kickstarter goes through, there is no way I'm gonna lose interest. It's like, what? It's, oh my God! It's like winning the lottery or some shit. Like I am so hyped. Like nah, I'm hella good. So in that regard, nah. But simultaneously, obviously it's super fucking interesting for me to be able to jump. I mean, specifically because we have all these tools now, the digital, like the iPad Pro and what I can do with the Procreate, like what? And then and then my other 2 like go-tos, Clip Studio Pro and Photoshop, of course. Being able to leap between those 3 to do what I want to do and have it be erotica and have an audience already built in, because they're the ones who back the project. You know what I mean? Oh man, it don't get no better than that, man. That's coasting. I'm just coasting. I think boredom on this project is fucking impossible.
That'll be impossible for you. Speaking about process, so I'm guessing you're only using Procreate on the iPad. Have you tried using Clip Studio Pro on the iPad as well?
I did once when it was first coming out, and I was it didn't for me, because I use Clip Studio Pro on my Cintiq. I still have a Cintiq, and it's familiarity. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like Procreate benefited from me not knowing what the fuck it was, and being able to use the iPencil in the way that you can, like with Procreate, because it's built specifically for that tool. You know what I mean? It's just it's just powerful. So when I go back to Clip Studio Pro, and don't get me wrong, Clip Studio Pro is a powerful program. It makes me very, very happy, but I'm more comfortable with Procreate on the iPad. So that's just kind of how it works.
Because I know, like, Clip Studio Pro or Manga Studio was never like my
go-to.
I could never really get into it. It almost felt like it was too focused on like comics for me to get into, right? Like, but that I've been using Photoshop since like '96, so it's just like
familiarity.
Yo, it's like, man, y'all can add all these things in the world, but it's just like, yo, back in '96, y'all wasn't in the gym with me. Like I don't like all this new stuff you talk about is new. Like I still like pencils and paper. Like that's what Photoshop is to me now. It's like It's like brushes, like Winsor Newton brushes.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
y'all trying to improve the wheel, but they already solved this problem.
Mm-hmm. Whereas for those of us who weren't with it, like I was with Photoshop way back in 90 whatever, but I
Yeah,
wasn't doing comics. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So for me, it's a whole new planet because Clip Studio was like, Photoshop is daddy. Photoshop is like the granddaddy god doodah, right? But I've been using Photoshop for literally decades, and I still don't understand 3/4 of the bitch. Like maybe half. You know? You know what I'm saying? Like there's a whole chunk of Photoshop I have no idea what it does. Just no freaking clue. And Clip Studio was like, listen, it's giganormous. So we gonna just extract this piece and be
this
like,
one little
all y'all
part.
who want, yeah, all y'all who want manga, all y'all who want to do comics, all y'all graphic novels, y'all, we got you. Yes, Photoshop is the daddy, but this is for you specifically. Here you go. And because, like I said, because I had never done the comics on P Shop, I was like, awesome! This is so easy. And their workspace is really cool too. Like I dig simple stuff. Like being able to move, and this is something that my lady just didn't. She's a painter and a graphic designer too. She didn't even she was like, why would you even want to do that when you can in Clip Studio Pro you can move. First off, you can scroll. I mean, yeah, scroll, pan, and zoom stupid easy. Like they made the controls just so intuitive. It's not, you don't have to hit no buttons, just zip zip, you just do it damn easy. But two, you can move the image, the actual image that you're working on, anywhere in the frame at any time. You can move it whatever you want. You don't have to switch into a special workspace to be able to do that. And it's just simple stuff like that I'm like, dude, this is so awesome. Like, you know what I mean, this is what I need. This is how I think. This is just perfect. And Procreate too. They just, because they got that iPad shit. So you got the touch screens. You can just zip, zoom, zip, whip, wee. Spin it around. It's just nice. It's just nice. It feels nice.
Okay. Eventually, I've tried Procreate. Like I even did like a Today Apple Talk at the Apple Store on it, and it's cool. Like I know how to use it. I bought some special brushes for it. But man, like Adobe got their own apps, and I just feel more at home there. I just be sitting there like, yeah, I know all the stuff already. Like it works the way I want it. And some
That's
like,
the point. That's it.
Yeah,
it works the way I want it.
People like, I don't know, but this one's better. I'm like, yeah, but.
But I don't know that one.
Like I've used your sword and it's okay, but it ain't got my grooves in it.
It ain't been with me. This one comfortable in my hand. You know what I'm saying? Yours might even be sharper, but this bitch is comfy. So I might cut you easier with this one right here. See what I'm saying? I'm feeling it.
I already practiced my styles on this. I already know all my kung fu.
Yep. I can dig it. It's about familiarity.
Yeah. So, what else is going on, man? What else are you liking? What else is inspiring you in the world in terms of creating stuff? Because when you're making new things, nothing's made up from a vacuum. Besides the spirits in the universe. There's other stuff that's going around. That enjoys you, get your mind thinking. You got your family, of course, and you're lucky enough to have a family that's creative with you. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody has that, so you get to explore as like a unit instead of just like, this is my solo journey, like Kane and Kung Fu.
Lone wolf and shit.
Yeah. Because I know we've had many talks about like, me and my issues with Marvel, but like, and then like you're still, like, oh, this is entertaining, and then like other stuff like that, and I'm always like the dour one, but you're like you're positive versus my like,
What's super interesting is that a whole bunch of Marvel I'm that guy. It's alright. You know what I mean? It's cool. Some stuff I'm like, this is fucking awesome. This is one of the best things ever. Like I will always big the fuck up out of Black Panther, because I truly believe we have literally never had anything like it since the invention of cinema. Like that's how deep it is for me. But outside that, there's a bunch of just aights. You know what I mean? Like for me, Endgame and what was the first one? Infinity War. Infinity War and Endgame. I mean, for me, Infinity War. What we can get into that a little bit, whatever. But Infinity War was no, and then Endgame was I. You know what I mean? Like, now, mind you, I on a scale of ridiculous budget, crazy amounts of fucking special effects that are awesome beyond awesome. Yeah, I get all that. But at the end of the day, you got your story has holes the size of fucking Texas in the parameters that you set up. Right? Like, I'm not even talking about reality, because people are like, yo, it's a superhero movie, so how you gonna be like it ain't real? I'm like, dude, they set up rules in their fucking story.
In the
how you gonna break
movie.
your own fucking rules?
In the same movie, they make rules and they be like,
fuck it. We want to make this happen, so there we go. Whatever. That rule we described earlier, yeah, forget about that. Don't worry about it. So anyway, that's my, that's one of my primary beefs with that. But outside of that, like, before we move too far off, let me just say this about this project. One of the reasons this project, the LER, is making me so excited is because erotica in particular is a subject, a topic that's like near and dear to my heart. And the reason is because so many people, admittedly or no, are interested in sex, period. Right? Like, porn has and will remain the one of the 3 biggest industries in the freaking world, yo, in the world, okay? And that's because everybody got here the same way, right? Like, no matter what, no matter if you could be a test tube baby, you still came from somebody orgasming, dog. Somebody nut you into the freaking test tube. The point is, sex is huge, and then we in this country and all over the world, they do this crazy shit. They have this convoluted, twisted ass, what are you doing kind of relationship with sex, sexuality, our sexual bodies, with nudity, with when to be sexy, when you're not allowed. Like, it's just, it's so bad. And then the porn and or the quote unquote erotica, it's a lot of it is just whatever, is hateful, is misogynistic, is rapey, is fucking pedophilia, is just, what are you doing?
Yeah. Hold up. This is a good topic. Like, forget that comic book shit. Get the nature of pornography, right? Like, like, I'm pretty open to the point when I talk to people about, like, porn, because we're at a point where, like, I think porn, erotica, burlesque has reached this point of almost like true mainstream acceptance to like, beyond the over thing, sex sales, this, that, the third. Like, nah, like, yo, y'all work out with pole dancing in the clear heels for exercise. I'm looking at Instagram, and y'all, like, the stuff I'm seeing people, regular people,
just be posting.
Oh, I'm like, yo, dead ass 20 years ago, this got the little special cover over the magazine in the bookstore on the magazine rack. But like, this is you, I don't know, getting back
in your fucking living room.
Yeah, you try to get a crush thing happening. I don't know what's going on, but I'm seeing a whole lot of thigh. And I'm seeing a whole lot of things. And then there's, like, you know, the means in which people can monetize it, like this whole
fans only joint.
OnlyFans, all this mini vids, Pornhub. Like, it's gotten to a point where the idea of content creation and capitalism has pushed it to a point that the entire generation is like, another stream of income could be me doing these things.
Fucking jacking off on the motherfucking computer in front of boys who want to see it.
I'm like, and you know, there's a point where you see, like, the stars and like some of the you know, the actresses more than the actors, even though you try to say the actors are at times or at times actually the directors and the owners or people executives in the company, so they still have more power. But there's a point where you hear, like, oh yeah, that porn actress is kind of famous, so like she at certain events, and I'm like, oh, this is oh, nah, I'm gonna talk about this shit in public now. If I'm seeing them on red carpets, then a whole lot of people know who this is.
It's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, do y'all know who this is? Like,
like, I just see them things, and it's like, whoa,
right?
I pat my head like I'm sweating, like, ooh,
right? Do y'all understand where this person came from? Like, do y'all know? We used to. Okay, wait, what? Okay. So for me, here's a part of that, because it is a really good. It's a huge topic. So first off, just the nature of porn, period. Right? Porn isn't even defined.
Yeah.
Porn is this nebulous thing like blackness. Feel me? Like it's not defined. It's I remember, there's a famous quote by the judge or whatever when they were like, what's pornographic? He's like, I was something like, I'll know it when I see it.
You know it when you see it.
Yeah, I mean? And that's a judge. That's a fucking judge. You ain't supposed to be it. Nah, man. Like we need more parameters than that. But the point is we don't have it. So erotica, all porn is somebody's erotica. Not all erotica, not even close to all erotica, is porn. That's the first piece. The second piece is we have this super, again, it's super strange. It's super one-sided. It's very, very anti-female, like across the board. It's really, really tripped me out because on the one hand you have all these dudes who purportedly, according to them, they love seeing naked women. They love and these are motherfuckers who refer to them as bitches, fucking big titty bitches did all this shit, right? They love it, they love it, they love it. But the second they see a woman who chooses to dress sexy on the street, they all over it, like, and you making them so fucking uncomfortable that they don't want to do the thing that you purportedly want to see more of. That's the first piece.
Yeah,
and then the second piece,
names
when they ain't talking about you, when they answering your fucking lascivious ass, skeevy ass, come here, then all of a sudden, they a bitch, they a stuck up hoe. But if they answer you, then they a thought, then they a slut. Like it's like you give them no room. You give them no fucking room, yo. No room. None. There ain't no fucking room. That's the first piece. Second piece is it's the third piece. The third piece is that like the pornography thing is crazy because since smartphones and shit have come into existence, right? And people can just take selfies, then they're changing the porn game because it seems like a solid 60% of the porn out there right now is amateur. It's all people just filming themselves.
And they didn't even know it ain't no pros out here, really.
Right?
Like.
Yeah, it's not. They fucking and it is actually a bunch of pros because I was looking into it specifically. It sounds hilarious because I mean it's legit, but they're like, sure you were. But when I was writing Cult of the Serpentari, the only place I could find the references I would needed for the artwork I was making was porn. Because that's the only place I could find like the poses for people fucking and the kind of values and all that shit I needed. Blah blah. So there was a whole lot of porn research going on. But I found when I was trying to promote the book specifically on Twitter, there's a shit ton of like what I would call conscious porn stars that are just all about making porn where the actual talent, quote unquote, the porn stars themselves are treated like humans, are paid a good wage, and they enjoy doing what they're doing. So that in and of itself is like a big change from the industry standards where, we don't know what the fuck kind of messed up shit was going on in the past. So it's kind of like when you look at a menu, a label on something like, say, toilet paper, and you didn't know all the shit that was in it until you see some that says, we don't have this stuff. Right, so like in the seventh generation toilet paper, they'll be like, no dye, no toxic this, no that, and I was like, all that shit was in toilet paper. Like, I didn't know all that was in there in the first place. The point is, there's a whole lot of porn with a whole bunch of toxic, trifling, fucked up situations, casting couch deals, just crazy shit. And
I've watched a good number of hours. Sometimes it's literally just being curious because even the nature of like. There's the nature of the site. Then you get then there's a point of like the quote unquote amateurs, and then you start clicking on the models, and they'd be like, well, go follow me on this or check me out on that, and then then you start digging into the hole that is the Instagram, and then you get the stories and the Snapchats, and you're just like, and you're like, wow, this is a thing. If I was a sociologist, this is like 3-4 books I could write off of right now.
Yes.
And that's before I even get to like, there's of course I'm, quote unquote cisgendered, right. Straight or whatever.
Right.
Then you get into the bag of the
trans and the weird, the she-males and the fucking, oh my God.
And like just the gay stuff in general, like, the male and the this and that, and then the trans male on the, and then I'm like, one time I just clicked on it by accident. I was like, oh, that dude he got a beard, but there's okay, this is all right. I didn't even know. Like,
Oh, this is a thing. This is a thing. Oh
I, you
shit.
know, like what this like we are in the future.
We,
Like, I click off of it, but I'm like, that took me like 10 minutes to process. I'm like,
yes.
whoa, and then I
Yes.
saw like an interview on like some news show with that person. I was like, well, golly, look at that there. Now he's
Right.
explaining himself.
hmm That's some trippy shit, yo. And like, there's one in particular. I think his name is Buck Angel. My boy sent me a photo of him to fuck my head up. Buck Angel was born a biological female, right? And he got a sex change, but the full, like, everything except when he was about to get his pussy turned into a dick, he stopped and was like, I actually like my pussy. It works just fine. I think I'm gonna keep it. So if you see a photo of this dude,
Wait, is he a white dude?
Yes,
With the glasses,
yes.
right?
Does he have glasses? He
I
looks
don't
like a
know.
biker.
But he's like
He
a
looks
beard, like a beard,
he,
right?
he looks like a full-on biker.
Yeah, that's the
full,
one. Fuck me
yo,
up, Micah. I
he
was
fucked
fucked
me
up.
up so bad. Oh my god. Like I can't.
Like
I can't.
it's the future. Like I didn't. If you go back into the '80s, the way things are taught, like you wouldn't. The way they portray things is fucked up. So then you get to a point where you like see it. It's like, no, I'm not. It's like it's not a judging thing. It's just like I've really never experienced this before in my life.
Ever. This is 100% new. This is brand spanking new, and it's fucking my whole world up right now. I can't.
Have no word. And literally, I have
got
no
words.
words.
Yeah, I got no words. And it's again, it's like to stress to our listeners, this is not at all about hate or anything like that. This is coming from a place of just genuine, like, for us, we've just never fucking seen anything like that before.
And we went to art school,
right,
in New York City. Like, we done seen some things. Like, we done seen some things.
Whoa,
it takes a lot to shock.
Right. So we in shock, like full on. Like I can't look at them and see, and then I am into a place of like, okay, so if you want to get there, I am into a place of I'm questioning a lot of things. I don't understand where they're coming from. A lot that they meaning a lot of the trans who specifically who get sex changes and like get their genitalia turned into something else, cut up and restitched and da da. Because for me, my latest epiphany is that I have been, because of the politically correct police and because of just the way I've been trying to be a positive human being, throughout life, I was under the impression that I needed to like everything. Like if you wanted to do that, I needed to be for you. I needed to like that shit and be for you. And my epiphany is that no, I don't have to like any fucking thing. What I do have to do is accept that it's literally none of my fucking business. You do, you know what I'm saying? You do what you want to do, and I will accept that that's what you want to do, even if I feel like I think what you're doing is really fucked up to yourself. I think that there's a very major questions that need to be asked about what self-love is, what it looks like, how you can talk about it when you're chopping yourself, whatever. But all those conversations are secondary, because the first piece is I'm still willing to accept you as a human being. I'm willing to respect you as a human being. I ain't gotta look down on you. I ain't gotta curse at you. I ain't gotta fucking, you don't belong here. None of that bullshit. It's just I don't understand what you're doing, and I don't altogether agree with it, and I don't have to. I don't fucking have to. I can just accept you, and I can accept what you're trying to do. And then we get into the legislation and shit, and then we may butt heads. Yeah, I mean, like if the law is trying to make it say, so I have to call you this, or I don't know about all that. But that's just me. I'm starting to think. But either way, like that's my newest epiphany is that I don't have to like it, but I do have to accept that that's your life and that's your body, and you choosing to do that shit. So rock the fuck on, and I'll respect you. I don't have to like it. I don't have to be like, yes, I'm all for it. No.
I actually sit down and I wonder, like, I don't even get that far. I wonder in regards to that, because there are people that had that change that before, decades before, and then we've learned so many more things about biology and how certain things work. That, be quite honest, we still don't know how certain things completely, utterly operate.
Impact, yeah. Yeah,
So
not even close.
To do all that, I'm like, okay, I don't know why you trust these doctors this much, because if you know science, we still in the early. I to the point this like, yo, we ain't really been to space yet. We been to the moon and we come back. I need niggas to really figure out some more things. Like, I don't even want, when like I haven't had surgery before on my body, and I'm like, yo, they say they gotta take this out or it's really gonna like. I had to weigh my options, but in the end, I kind of want to die with all my pieces intact. Like, you know, like
I hear you.
I don't
hear
know
you.
yet. So, but it's like, again, I accept, I respect. You could do you. Motherfuckers can't get into telling you exactly what to do from to me a state level, because to me that's
going too far.
overreach. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right.
I do think there's some overcorrection sometimes, because nobody has read enough. They're letting a lot of things like dictate them through like sharing of ideas on a platform that we don't know how it affects us yet. So like, I know there was a moment in which, like, I'll be honest, like at work, there's some people who want to put pronouns in their email signature, and they're younger leaning people. But like, they don't get to, like, to older people, if you ask them what pronoun they are, they find that disrespectful. Because
for them, they're just like, are you questioning my gender? What the
like,
fuck is
what
wrong
do you
with you?
do?
I'm a
like,
dude.
Not even just
I'm
even that, like, you know, black people been questions what the hell they are before. Like, these things like, what are you? Didn't always was used specifically for sex and gender. Like, like a light skinned person, what are you? Like
octoroon, quadroon,
like
white, black, mixed.
There's all this stuff going on that we like when you just start doing things because like it's a trend, and no one sit down and done like the homework to figure out, yo, what is the process? How are we sitting on this? What are we doing? And y'all just start doing things, you gonna cause more conflict because nobody really know what the hell they talking about yet.
Well, what's interesting within that is that it sounds like something one of my boys was doing. Shout out to Carbon Mike. He's like a mentor / nemesis. I freaking hate what he says sometimes, but he makes a lot of sense. And it's basically that like society is not, it doesn't necessarily lend itself to massive change quickly. It's about over the long term. You know, like as an example, something that I'm realizing, you know, to your point, is just time, right? Like it even if it's going to change, even if it's going to shift, there needs to be more of, or it seems like perhaps there needs to be more time. And when I say time, I don't mean those who are pushing for these changes should not push for these changes. They should wait. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is you should be prepared for it to take longer for you to be accepted within whatever it is you pushing for than overnight. Case in point, a friend of mine, she's Colombian, and she is gay. And she came out to her peoples a long time ago, and they did not accept her. Not happy at the fuck all, not at all, right? But years have passed. They never invited any of her girlfriends, And finally, this last year, she was going to a family thingy or whatever, and she brought a girlfriend, and they accepted her. And it took a long fucking time. And there's still people who ain't necessarily comfortable with it, but like the main folk were like, "Yo, we see, you know, it's been mad low. This is obviously not a fucking phase. It's not like an experiment. Like this is you, and we love you, so we're gonna accept you." But it took time. Yeah, I mean, people have to come around. And I'm not saying that your legislation and your this and that needs to cater to the people who, because there's a lot of people be like, fuck y'all, fuck your time, we've been crushed for mad long, we've been hiding for mad long, we've been in a closet for mad long, screw you needing more time, right? I understand that. And we're human, and some of us are gonna need some time. Okay, we're gonna need some time to figure this shit out. So I think that what's happening right now is just a course correction, and it's huge, and it's causing crazy upheavals, and there's overcompensation in some places, and pushback in others, and that's just how it works when you introduce what amounts to massive change. That's just how it works. So there's some stuff that's going to be comfortable. There's a whole bunch of shit that's not going to be comfortable, and there you go. Yeah, I mean, so that's kind of what we're in the middle of.
Yeah. I've been sitting back as time goes on and watching things change, and I'm like, okay, I don't like to play devil's advocate, but there are times when I'm around people with more like conservative ideas on things, and I try to like question
just push
them.
a little bit in that
like,
in a different direction.
Yeah, and there's some people who are like super progressive. Sometimes I'm like
pushing in the opposite direction.
Like I'm like, yo, like, but like black people still get shot in the street. You talk about stuff that's like kind of newish, like
hey,
Native Americans just want football teams not that can have racist slurs as names.
Yep.
We want to get to like chapter 2. Y'all talking about chapter 8.
Yeah. There is. But Cats is like, yo, I'm done waiting. Like, how long y'all gonna fucking take? It's interesting, man. So another piece to this, to pull it back to just the erotica shit, is just that I felt like I could jump on a soapbox and I could harangue people about how messed up and misogynistic and fucked up like the money shot is, when it's just a dude nutting in some girl's face. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, or I could just create some work that isn't that. Create some work that is the opposite of that. Create some work that is powerful and juicy and delicious and arousing and uplifting and elevating and fucking inspiring, and then put it out into the world and show people through example what erotica can be. Because I think erotica can be healing. I profoundly think that erotica and sexuality and a renewed acceptance of our bodies, of our forms, of the shapes that they can take, and the sizes and the colors and the craziness, as well as just sexuality and like how weird and awkward and strange and amazing it can be. Like an actual healthy dialogue of it, understanding of it, exploration of it can heal so many fucking people, because so many people have been seriously traumatized before they even reach 13. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like the sexual assault, abuse, rape is atrocious. I think it's, based off the stats that I heard, 1 in 5, 1 in 3 have been either sexually assaulted and or raped before the age of whatever, or just period in their lives. That's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, that number is insane, yo. And I feel like I've spoken to so many, because you know me, I talk to people. I'm a talker. I talk to mad people. And I know mad women, and I've spoken to mad women. And if, like, I guarantee you, if they're honest, 3/4 of the women have all been through some form of some fucked up sexual assault shit. Some of them, it's like hard to find somebody who hasn't. Hard. That's fucked up, yo. And it's a whole bunch of dudes too, and we even less coming out than anybody else. Like the dudes is just like, hell no, I ain't telling you that. Like, you fucking kidding me? You know what I mean?
It's not, because it's not seen as acceptable.
Not even
especially
close.
For quote unquote straight men, it's not seen that's something you can talk about.
Not even close. It's not even something you can talk about. It's something you should not have been able to have happened to you. It's that deep. Because you straight and you're a man, and so a man being raped is like just the ultimate, like, nah, you can't, nah, son, you can't even. That's not even, It's just it's fuck. So anyway, that kind of thinking spurs what I do, recognizing that when people can partake of and experience erotica in a way that they haven't, in a way that leaves them not feeling like they gotta wash their fucking essence off because some horrible shit happened, but part of them was turned on because it's the sexiest thing they've read in forever, because nothing else really gets into sex. But then you have demons with like fucking crazy penises with eyeballs coming out, and they coming through the girl's throat, and what the fuck, and then you're slightly ashamed because the part of you was like, oh, because it was kind of hot. Was that hot? Am I tripping? What the fuck? Because we never see nipples and we never see pussies, except in porn, not on the screen, not in movies and shit. So it fucks us up when we do. The point, long story short, is just like, if I create stuff that's not that, but that's delicious, and cats get to experience that, it's the same thing as cats being in relationships that have been fucking abusive, and then they finally get in one that's not. and it's loving and nurturing and healthy, and they're like, dude, this is what relationships can be like. Oh, this is awesome. Yeah, yeah. I mean, like that's what I'm creating. That's what I'm creating, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, well, that's a good mission statement right there.
Yes, sir.
I don't
It's
even think
already
you
in
can
there.
make it better. I don't even think you can make a better one there.
It's already in there. It's in there. It's written down, enshrined. It's on. It's at the bottom. As you scroll all the way to the bottom of the Kickstarter page, that's where I got it framed and everything. Ching ching.
That's what's up. Yeah.
So
Do you
outside
think
of
do
what
you
you about to
think
say?
that the maybe the fan base of manga and anime might be more receptive to some of your work because there's it's almost seemed a little bit more acceptable within spaces of comics and stories
Mm-hmm.
that people who like the Japanese stuff because they have
Mm-hmm.
that segment of the medium there
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
is gaining, it has its own popular outlets on the internet here. Do you think
Mm-hmm.
is that something you've tried to reach out to like some of those communities and say like, hey, yo, check this out, B?
I haven't because at the moment I don't have the ins to those communities, right? And
Yeah.
I already know what it's like to like reach into a community I know nothing about and
Mm-hmm.
try and be, yeah, I mean I don't really work. So I am reaching out to folk who are parts of those communities. And being like, if you feeling this, please share. You know what I mean? And I've had several who are, which is really, really dope. But it's one of those things where I'm not a part of any of those communities, largely. Because I do like anime. You know what I mean? I'm just not a fan of the hentai shit. And the trip is, I'm actually, like I've seen some stuff that hentai stuff that I'm like, oh, this is cool. And then they do some fucked up shit. You know what I mean? I'll be like, this is awesome. Oh, you had to put that part in, didn't you? Damn. Yeah, I mean, like it trips me out when anyway. I'm not even going there. Point is, yes. So I think I do feel like there is a little bit more acceptance just because cats love comics and um, they're already a part of that. They're already a part of the medium. Um, but I'm not a part specifically of those communities.
Yeah. I understand not wanting to try to like push in. It's like, yeah, I ain't got the cosign, so I don't know how to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Just
like,
come in some brand new newbie. Be like, hey, look at this. Like, who the fuck are you?
yeah. Like, I don't
What
know
I
you.
right? One of the spots I am kind of pushing into a little bit is in the blurred groups, blurred societies, communities, because the black nerds are all about comics and manga and all that shit, but they hungry for black characters, for
Yeah.
black material, for black writers. You know what I mean? And that I have in spades. You know what I'm saying? Like that's something that's the other piece. And what's cool about that is like black people ain't the only ones hungry for that. You know what I mean? Like mad people are hungry for it. They just don't know until they see it. And they're like, oh my God, this is awesome. You know what I mean? So I'm definitely leaning into that and feeling how dope it is to have, because it's not just erotica that's dope as shit. I went through this experience that kind of messed me up. Okay, I'm gonna relate an experience that kind of messed me up, and I think I how can I put it? I suspect that I'm not the only person who's had this experience. So, as a kid, I had a whole bunch of concepts. As an adult, I had a whole bunch of concepts, and I wrote them down, and they were for stories, and I was gonna write them, and they were gonna be dope, and all these things. And at some point, I went back in and I looked at all the concepts because I was looking for, what I was going to do and how I was going to do it. And I realized that none of the characters in my stories, even the ones coming straight out of my imagination, were brown. None of the characters looked like me. They were all white people. And I realized how deeply insidious our society and culture has been. When all the heroes, Superman, Wonder Woman, we get one Storm every now and then, we get a Luke Cage every, I mean, but like back in the day, they were very, very. When we were coming up, X-Men for me was the shit. You know what I mean? All my favorites, outside of Storm, were all white or blue, because you get the Beast and motherfucking Nightcrawler. Yeah, I mean, right, Nightcrawler. But they weren't black. You know what I'm saying? You get one Storm. That's it. That's what you get. And so my stories, in heavy metal. Oh, heavy metal did me. I loved me some. They were my first introduction to the things I love most: magic, swords, and sex. I was like, get the fuck, are you serious right now? This is amazing. They introduced me to Morbius, like all these beautiful freaking authors, whatever. Artists. The point is that most of them were never black. Nobody's black. And so my stories weren't populated by black people. So I went back in to all my concepts and I just re-ethnicized people, and I changed two things: their color and their body type. Because a whole bunch of my heroines all looked like, the stereotypical friggin' comic babe with the big boobs and the tiny waist and the nice, slightly nice hips. I mean, whatever. So I changed that to just switch it up and give them bellies and hips and rolls and thighs and asses and small up top and big down at the bottom and vice versa. I mean, just change it up. And what I want is legitimate versatility, not versatility. What's the
diversity?
Diversity. Thank you. It's like versatility is not the word. Diversity, legitimate diversity, because you have some folk who, again, to me, overcompensate. All my characters gonna be black. Everybody black, and that's fine if that's what you do. I am not against you at all. I'm not hating on you a little bit. But in my worlds, I want actual diversity, because the world I populate, the world I live in, is diverse, man. You know what I mean? I just want to see me in it. That's all. A lot of me in it. So I have a whole bunch of brown, black characters. I also have some white people, some Asians, some you know what I mean? Go in, Latino, like just all of it. I want all of it. Fat, skinny, small, tall, all of it. I'm going for, there's probably going to be a few that are amputees. I want some that are physically disabled, like just, some stuff just to mess around. And I'm not going to put every single thing in, because I'm not interested in every single thing. But I am going to put enough in such that I feel like a bunch is represented that I don't normally see represented, and I'm gonna have fun with it. So it's an interesting piece. But like going back in and looking at my stories and realizing that so many of them didn't have black people messed my head up really bad. Because I was like, how deep did y'all get into my skull?
Yeah, you didn't think that you didn't even think about it. You just so used to seeing like the characters being white, and that's why my main characters were always like a mix, because very early on, like when I went to high school, like I met like an older kid. He was a senior when I was a freshman, and he was drawn, and he drew. I don't know how to portray this, but like in a very stereotypical '90s black comic way. So it's like the people look black, so they were like dark skinned, their lips were big, not like not the messed up big, but the pro black big, you know what I'm saying, like
right,
and the girls, the women, they had big asses and it was thick, you know what I'm saying, but it was just that, and then like I'm trying to like draw characters. It's like, well, this one's going to be Japanese and this one's going to be like from Brazil, and like this one's going to be from like France, and I almost didn't have no American white people in it. It's like, if they're gonna be white, they gotta be from like another country. And
right.
I gotta have all
Denmark,
this.
France, fucking Iceland.
Like, other shit. Canada's in there, like, yeah. And then the people's like, yo, you'll never draw black people. I was like, but those two are black, but they don't look black. I'm like, so like, then I was like, but what's looking black? And then I thought about that for like a long time. Like, I always thought like, well, I don't really fit in with the black folks. And there's still times in which I feel that way. And I don't fit in with the white folks. So it's just like, all right, I guess I'm just going to be here alone. This is where I stand. I go home, I watch Power Rangers. Power Rangers, they had like black people always in it, and like Asian people always in it, and like Latin. Like, oh, there's 2 Latin Rangers, and it's like, like they change every year. So it's just like, oh, they always got diversity. Like, it was just okay, like, yeah, like, I could separate, like, yeah, I know all these characters is white, like, but like Milestone is over here, there's black characters, and then like they fade away, and I learned I'm older, I learned all the stories, I met the people, I hear the little, well, back in the day this happened, like, oh, well, dang, that sucks. Now I'm wiser, like, I get it, but like I'm happy to say this is like, or I shouldn't say happy, but it's like like I almost felt like the opposite, like wanting to be like diverse and like to a certain degree, I almost got like penalized for it on like both sides. Like I never totally fit in anywhere. And then like I made the ants, and it's like to me they're ants. People want to say like, oh, they're black. Like, nah, they're alien ants. They not. I'm not going to say they're black because black people. There's black people in my comic. They're from space. Like they're aliens. Like I'm not the big into the there's back in the day I would say Piccolo is black from Dragon Ball Z. Even then I have the words for it, but I mean it's like a joke. Like he's a stand-in. That's who we identify with. But like, nah, Piccolo's a green alien dude from an alien planet. Like, there's black people. Like it's different.
And that for me is why I absolutely have to have black people. Like, and I mean, I'm going to the gamut. I want like dark freaking black, African, beautiful black, all the way to light-skinned American black and everything in between. Because for me, I need to see more brown. It's that simple. I just want to see more brown. Like, it's not just diverse. Like, I want diversity, but I definitely want a shit ton of brown because I'm making up for all the fucking fiction I have read and seen that did not have enough of me in it. Yeah, like, for real. Because I know how thirsty it is, right? Like I saw, it may have been Pinterest, it might have been Instagram. I'm not sure which. And it may have been physical. It may have been me walking into a room. The point is, I saw a painting of a Moor, this powerful fucking African Arab, beautifully black warrior, like majestic as fuck, regal as hell, the turban, the friggin' the whole nine, multiple blades, swords, scimitars, crazy. And I drank it like freaking elixir. I did not know I was needing it until I saw it and was like, holy shit, you're beautiful. I needed that in my life. I want my art to do that for people. Feel me? Like, I want my art to do that for people. Like, motherfuckers see themselves like, dude, this is, because the other thing is, for me, it's not just enough to be black. Like to have a black character in Game of Thrones, for me, was awesome. Okay. Just really, really awesome. But there's something about having inner city swag mixed with that. So you're not just a black character. You're the black that I relate to black. Like, that shit makes me happy. Really, really fucking happy. So when I'm doing my shit, one of the things that I'm integrating because I can within my stories is that swag. That fucking, like, my characters are not, they stylish. You know what I mean? They fucking, they speak a certain way. They got slang coming out their mouths. Black slang, inner city black slang that I understand, because there's a shit ton of different slang and I don't understand all of it, but I understand this shit. And a whole bunch of people will. You know what I mean? And that for me makes me happy because I drink it. Like, I know, and you feel like you haven't, necessarily fit in with black people. You don't fit in with. For me, it's like when I walk down the street, nobody thinks I'm anything other than black. Feel me? Like, when I walk out the fucking house, ain't nobody thinking, oh, he's Hispanic. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I feel you. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I don't think I don't always fit in with black people in comics right now.
Yeah, I feel you. And that
black people in general, I'm straight. Like, when I'm at work, I'm black. Like, I'm outside, but sometimes when I'm in the spaces, I'm like I don't always feel like I'm comfortable because I care about things that they may not care about. Like, I sometimes feel more comfortable around street dudes than I do like the geeks. It's like, well, we can at least go talk about basketball in the new Blase Blah tape and
And I feel that, and again, that's, to me, that's also a function of number one, who you're surrounding yourself with. Yeah, I mean, who you're calling to you, and number two, recognizing that we want to feel accepted. We want to feel like we're around folk who feeling what we feeling. And so we gravitate towards those folk if we can find them. And sometimes we're not going to find them in the places we would most like to find them. You know what I mean? Like, we just don't. And that sucks, but that's real. It happens. I was cursed with being an army brat. So I can pretty much drop in anywhere on the fucking, I don't care. Anywhere. You can put me pretty much anywhere and I'm good. I can be with street folk. I'm not the best because I'm not that gully. I'm not quite there. You know what I mean? But
I'm
pretty
a square.
much,
I'm a square. They just know that I'm a square.
and like I can talk to damn near, you know what I mean? I can roll with a wide range. I consider myself a tribe walker. But not everybody feels that way. And I also feel like part of that is something that people don't think about often enough, and that is the notion of social adeptness, social ineptitude, social, you know, what, like we tend to think that it's easy because okay, it's perfect. I got the perfect example. It's kind of like pregnancy. So many women have babies every year that people think some women have multiple, you know, some women have multiple babies, right? So people think, oh, giving birth is easy. No, motherfucker, no. Actually, no. Every single time you give birth, you were skating like a freaking breath's inch away from death.
It's a miracle
that shit is
every time.
major. It's major. You know what I mean? But it happens so often, we just fucking, oh yeah, it's birth, right? So I think it's the same thing with being socially comfortable. Just being socially comfortable. People talk to each other all the time. They get in these groups and do this, so they automatically assume everybody can just do that, and they're all comfortable. No, bitch, no. There's a ton of people who are not comfortable just talking to people. Not at all. And then you factor in depression, and you factor in anxiety, and there's so many people that we just see on a daily basis just walking around, and you think they just talking to people and they fine. They're not fine, okay? They're not, And so there's that part too, where it's just finding folk who, when it comes to quote unquote feeling like you fit in, part of it is finding folk who know how to hold space, who know how to just let you be and meet you there. Yeah, I mean, as well as just being interested in what you're interested in, and because some people, they got their best friends aren't interested in any of the shit they're interested in, but they're comfortable around them because they're allowed to just be in all their awkward, fucking weird, strange, or amazing splendor. They just let them be, and that feels belonging. That feels delightful. That feels accepting, and that feels damn good. So it's it's real interesting. It's just there's a whole lot of facets to it. But I feel like I want my shit to be nectar, man. Like I will never forget how that shit felt walking in and seeing. I think I walked in and I'll never forget how it felt. I'll never forget the feeling I walked away with when I saw that painting and was like, holy mother of all that is good, I needed to see you. I didn't know I needed to see you. I was happy with my Batman and my Superman and all that shit. I was happy. I was fine. I was not fine. I thought I was fine, but then I saw that and was like, "Ooh, oh, this is glorious." I want to give a shout out to a series called East of West. It's one of my absolute favorite graphic novel comic series ever. And have you ever read East of West?
Nah, I bought digital copies. I still haven't sat down and read it though. So much stuff to read.
Yeah, no doubt.
And watch and listen.
Their work is insane, and they got different tribes and shit, and every last one of them is repped so hard. Like from the Native American, indigenous to the Black New Orleans faction to the white people. Like, it's amazing. I fucking love their version of diversity. It's sick. It's so sick. It's so sick. They took it to a whole other level, and the storytelling is just oh my god.
Yeah, I know a lot of people. I've had a lot of people tell me like a lot of black people who read comics was like, yo, I really love this series. And it's like, all right, it's in my queue. Eventually I'm gonna get to it.
And one of these days.
Making stuff takes a lot of time out from actually, reading things.
Perusing stuff. Yeah, I'm with you. I didn't got into digital recently. Shout out to my boy Dan. He got me into the digital, and then Mikyo is one of my dealers. Mikyo and Dan. And they got me back into comics. I had left. I wasn't here anymore. Now I'm all up in it because digital revitalized my shit. Because I got crates of comics. You know what I mean? But I ain't read half of them. The bunch of them are unopened. You know what I mean? I got pristine Spider-Man and X-Men, Uncanny X-Men from way the fuck back. I just haven't even opened yet because I missed the issue here or there. I was like, oh, I'm not going to read any of this shit until I get that missing issue. I'm that motherfucker. But yeah, I'm really happy, and then Saga. That shit was mind-blowingly dope. Oh my god! And the art. Oh, anyway. So yeah, like, and then there's so many. But like East to West is one of my absolute favorites because they went in, they went all the way in. I was like, y'all are amazing, y'all are amazing. I want my art to feed people, son. I want people to look at this shit and just be like, yo, this is some of the illest shit I've ever fucking seen, and it's sexy. Holy shit, I didn't even know that was possible. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that. I had a really strong response to Cult of the Serpent. Sorry, there were a lot of people who've reached out over the years and been like, that shit fucked me up. You know what I mean? So I'm grateful. I already know I got the erotica part down. I know how to do good sexy. So now I'm adding to it. This is the first of many.
So all right, that sounds like a good
jump off.
So how can people find you online? And what should they? I'm going to put the link to the Kickstarter in the show notes. But
okay,
what's a quick way? Could you tell them today? What should they search for in that Kickstarter search box?
I guess the best thing to search in the Kickstarter search box would be LER Volume 1. So VOL.1. LER VOL.1. That's the easiest way if you go straight to Kickstarter and search in there. LER VOL.1. And then to find me online, I'm Micah Blacklight on Twitter. I'm not really on Twitter, but I'm there. Micah Blacklight on Twitter. And Micah Blacklight on FB, Facebook, and on Insta. You can type in Micah Blacklight and I'll come up, or you can type in I am Catalyst, because I am that too. That's my main. I've been shifting everything to that. Okay. So those are the easiest ways to find me. I tried to keep it simple, but now I'm migrating everything on to I am Catalyst. I-am Catalyst CATALYST.com. That's my website. And that's I do empowerment coaching, and I do artwork, and I'm a artist and a fashion designer and a flipping speaker and a motivational speaker and a nut job and a angel and a demon and a alien and then a black dude and a papa. Yeah, I'm all these things. I'm all these things. All the things.
Well, all right, man. Thanks for being on the show. I appreciate it. We've been trying to do this for a while, but I go through my ebbs and flows of being productive with podcasting. True. But I'm glad that you were on.
I am super grateful. Thank you very much for having me, especially during this time. This is the most excitingest time. And you were one of the authors of one of my other most exciting times, which was the actual Comic-Con. So thank you for that, bro.
Sure, no problem. I try to bring people in,
It fucking worked.
Got to be the shepherd sometimes,
Hell yeah. Thank you very much. I really, really appreciate it. And I appreciate you having me and making the time, because I know you do get hella busy. So thank you very much, bro. And to all y'all listeners, thank y'all for listening. Shit, it's good to have y'all here.